Hello, beautiful people. I'm Dr. Leah Hollon. Welcome back to those of you who have tuned in before, and for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm excited to be with you. So today we're going to dig into an interesting subject matter about lineage trauma and actually related to alcohol. So stay tuned to the very end, because if you think that this is something in your family line that maybe has impacted you or those around you within the family, don't worry, we have 3 specific things that can actually help with shifting some of those lineage imprints from alcohol. So, like many of you out there, alcohol has a lot of controversy. And you may see that some people have a very strong opinion that it's great for you and red wine's awesome and it does this and that and cardiovascular disease. And then you're going to see on the opposite end of like, oh, our alcohol is horrible for you and that kind of thing. So I want to really help bring in some of the research that we know related to lineage trauma and what I see to be most important. So let's really talk about that. So first of all, out there, alcohol is a sugar. And with everyone out there right now that's trying to watch their weight and those kinds of things, like, it's liquid sugar. Come on, like, how much does the body really need, right? So I'll just go ahead and give you my 2 cents right now, is that I don't see that alcohol is really very beneficial for most people. And so I'm going to talk about some of the generalities of that and why, but I really want to talk about, for those of us who work within lineage trauma, even ourselves within my own family, I actually come from a lineage that had a maybe inappropriate relationship with alcohol. And so I think it's really important for those of us to talk about this and how we can also help others as they're navigating it. So, I mean, alcohol, right? It's a sugar. It can definitely change the microbiome. It's hard to process. It has to go through phase 1 and phase 2 detoxifications. For those people who kind of have impaired detoxification pathways, this is much more challenging. You also add in a bit of a drug therapy if people are on that, and alcohol can definitely make it more challenging for you to break down your drug and to know what to do with it appropriately for, let's say, if you have cardiovascular disease, or if you're trying to work on your lipids or your cholesterol. It's not going to be metabolized the same way because, again, it's a toxin, and alcohol is seen as a drug, and that's the way we categorize it. But more importantly, we see that alcohol causes what we call epigenetic shifts or drifts. And what that means is that basically alcohol is sort of a toxin. It is a toxin. And if it's in the body for a long period of time or too long and you can't process it, it starts changing structure. It starts changing also receptors. It's changing even our brain chemicals like serotonin and dopamine, and also its receptors. It also then changes our oxytocin and how we engage with that. It's really important when we think about bonding, when we think about being able to get things done on our agenda throughout the day with serotonin and also dopamine. So it can actually be more associated with more OCD behaviors, being hypervigilant, those kinds of things, and needing more and more of that substance to actually get the fix. So the way that I like to think about it, and I talk about this in the book, it's sort of like dopamine's like the jester, and it needs to entertain people. And so a lot of times the body is looking for more entertainment. And so what worked one time, you're going to need more and more each time. And that's why a lot of people have issues with sugar. And then again, alcohol is a sugar, right? So, but I wanted to share with you more specifically what's happening. So alcohol, from the research, what we know is that it doesn't just shift some of the cells that we already have there, but also cells for reproduction. More specifically, it can actually damage and injure our eggs as a biological female, and also cause issues around sperm quality and even something called sex hormone binding globulin, which has a lot to do with if people want to try to get pregnant. And so it can alter this, and in fact, actually, it also changes the RNA of the sperm and also RNA of people, not just the RNA of sperm. And so again, this can really relate to if someone can get pregnant and also carry out that pregnancy. And we see that it's also related to certain critical genes that also control the immune system. So the body may not know how to engage with an infection appropriately. Now, how does it do this? Well, what we find is that it is affecting that hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis, the HPA axis. And that's the one that controls our daily functions. It tells us if we're in fight and flight. And alcohol can definitely change that to where we can't modulate that as well. And so again, it affects serotonin, dopamine, and then eventually norepinephrine and epinephrine. So when we think about this is really important to know about, but there's one specific couple of studies that I want to share with you actually, and it affects something called the BDNF protein. Now, BDNF protein is important and it's in our brain. It helps us to keep our nerves really healthy and also repair and just more agile in the brain. Well, what we have seen is that alcohol can shrink the brain. Well, then that BDNF protein is not able to do the repair that it's supposed to do. So we can actually see this on imaging of the brain. Isn't that fascinating? We can see that with the actual imprints of alcohol. And we can trace this too through other proteins. We can actually, there's something called SLC6A4, fancy little name, but we can track this throughout lineages or through the lineage to actually see that that imprint is there. It's not ideal, right? And so this is why we can see addiction go throughout the entire family, right? And it might show up for someone as an eating disorder, whereas for someone else it's alcohol. For another person it might be kind of like an OCD kind of thing. So I just wanted to share that with you. I think it's really important. But again, we want to keep our brain, we want to keep our immune system, we want to have like a healthy offspring, right? Makes sense. So what do we do if we feel like that this is an imprint within our family line? Well, we want to work on our HPA axis. We want to try to help with that BDNF protein, that brain-derived neurotrophic protein. And the way that we can do this through some of the three things is work with our heart rate variability. So heart rate variability is a measurement that tells us kind of like the agility of your heart to accommodate lots of different things, variations of things that you have to do throughout the day. So if you're sitting here like I am right now, and then you're getting up and you're needing to go run and go do something, it has that ability to switch pretty quickly. And it basically is sort of an overall measurement of our overall health and then also our longevity. So we want that to be in a good state. So basically working with that with breath work can be very helpful. Now, one other thing that also can help with that is specifically helping the vagus nerve. So the vagus nerve is a nerve that runs from the middle of our head all the way down through our throat, through our chest, through our GI system, and all the way to our genitals. And so this is really important if it's something that you want to try to change within your lineage related to if there has been some alcoholism in the family. And so again, if you're thinking about sperm quality or if you're thinking about quality of eggs, it's very important in trying to work on that. And the third thing is something simple, walking. Walking is a big one. And when I was talking a moment about helping with that vagus nerve, you know, we talked about breathing, but also meditation. And we've seen studies where walking, meditation, and breath work, all three help to increase that BDNF. Isn't that amazing? And also helps with certain brain chemicals related to our immune system. So again, keeping our immune system really healthy and well. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. I think it's important for us to really talk about some of these more challenging things in our families. I know that they can feel heavy. I know that they can feel a little, sometimes you're just not certain where to go. You don't know what to do about it. But I think sometimes, and if it's not you that's dealing with some of the issues around alcohol, but it's maybe other family members or there's alcoholic tendencies in the family, really being able to reach out for help can be useful through counseling, but also there's other groups that are out there that help you really discern what's yours and what's someone else's and what you're responsible for. So I really appreciate you tuning in. Thank you so much. And if you have some questions about this or another topic related to lineage imprints and helping us become a healthier community, helping us become a healthier family on the planet, I hope you'll reach out.